Okay, hi Sagittarius, my name is Chris and I'm doing the 2026 reading for you. Not the Celtic Cross this time, we're doing 12 cards, right? And we just see what comes up for 2026. 8 of Wands, that's pretty much the first energy that comes in. Then we got the Ace of Swords. The Ace of Swords shows up again and again. Why? Because it's a new consciousness, right? 2026 is the first year of this new consciousness. The Ace of Swords is pretty much representing this. Being more powerful, being more, there, ready for people to exit this, than the old consciousness. And that's good news. There's the Chariot. And just look at that combination. So you got this new consciousness, the Ace of Swords, right? You got the 8 of Wands, support from the universe. You got the Chariot, support from the universe. So fast moving energies, fast transformation. And that's good to hear if you have been hanging in there in the last few years, maybe. There's the 9 of Wands, so you might have to come out of your shell in 2026. That's good news as well. There is the Victory March, beautiful. Underneath the Ace of Swords makes a lot of sense. Then we got the 6 of Pentacles. The universe is finally, evening something out, balancing something out. So if you have given a lot, then it's time to receive. If you have received a lot, it's time to give in 2026. You have to decide whether you have been a giver, whether you have been a receiver in the last few years. So I tell the story about the blessing and the curse with the 6 of Pentacles all the time. It's always a duality, give and take, right? Receiving and giving. The blessing and the curse. If you got the curse first, you get the blessing now. If you got the blessing first, you're going to have to give something in order to balance this out, right? But this is an empath channel. Maybe you're an empath, hopefully. Otherwise, you wouldn't resonate with this channel. So I just assume you might be on the more empathic side. Even if you're a fire sign, that's no contradiction at all. By the way, the Ace of Wands, a lot of fire energy, by the way, too, here. So empaths might have been hanging in there in the last few years, right? So we definitely got the curse first. But now, transformational year, pivotal year, right? Changing year. The old is leaving behind, and this combination, right? You leave behind the old and you trust in the new. There is the Ace of Swords, a new consciousness, right? A new way of thinking, a new way of approaching stuff. And there's the Victory March in combination with the 8 of Cups. So you leave all the emotional baggage in 2025. There's the Death card. Yes, makes a lot of sense. 4 of Swords, and what else we got? There's the waking up to it, right? Judgment, and one last card. Okay, one is kind of trying to stick out, the 4 of Wands. Bottom of the deck is the 5 of Cups. Underneath that, the 4 of Cups. So in 2026, basically, you have to leave the old circle. The last few years might have been pretty hard. So there were a few cups spilled, right? There's the 5 of Cups here. 3 cups spilled, 2 cups are still standing. And you have to turn it around, right? You have to leave all the baggage of the old behind. The last few years, you just shake it away, right? And you can really make this a practice in 2026. Helps you a lot with these energies, getting into this new vibe of the 2026 consciousness, the new consciousness, right? Thank God for that. You're kind of a little in this wounded warrior energy at the beginning. just looking back in the last few years, right? So a few cups got spilled, but guess what? 2 of these cups have red liquid, 1 has green liquid, so 1 was poisoned, right? So whatever broke in the last few years, whether it was relationships, whether it was career opportunities, something like that, something of it was poisonous, right? Toxic. So good riddance, right? And you have to see it like that, even if you might feel at the beginning like, you know, you're still kind of the wounded warrior, but you're leaving this behind. You're planting your seeds. So you got new projects here. You got all the support from the universe, 7 of Pentacles, clarifying the 8 of Wands. New project, new ideas. Again, leave the old behind, embrace the new consciousness. That's a different approach here. Gliding over 6 of Swords with the Chariot. Again, there's so much support from the universe. You got an idea of what to do in 2026. You got new projects, new ideas. Plant these seeds, small incremental steps, right? Build your business, build your new job, apply for your new job. If you want to do something else, then make the necessary steps in that direction in which you want to go. So there's this old Zen proverb, basically, move and the way will open. That's 2026, you know? You can do whatever you want. You just have to be consistent in it, right? And the universe is totally supporting you. And the other secret here, not actually secret, but we're seeing the 8 of Cups here 2 times, right? So you have to leave behind the old. Stepping out of your little circle of protection, right? And kind of meeting the world again. That's the Victory March. That's you leaving this old consciousness of the wounded warrior behind and taking this invitation. We see the 4 of Wands here at the end and clarifying the Victory March. So leaving behind your protective little shell that you built around you. Maybe that was necessary during the last few years, right? Because we were under fire, right? But 2026 is, again, this new consciousness, beautiful energy. Take the invitation from the world. The world is the universe is trying to even something out, balancing something out. What did I talk about? There's the scale here with the 6 of Pentacles clarified by the 2 of Pentacles. Again, emphasizing this balance that is coming in. This is an empath channel, and if you are an empath, if you're more on the empathic side, you don't have to be a full empath, but if you a kind, caring, decent human being who has compassion, right? You have been through something, right? That was not nice during the last few years, because the last few years were the time of the narcissists. They had their ball, they had their great time, but now it's our turn, right? And 2026 is the first year where the energies that are in our favor are higher and more prevalent and more stronger, basically, than the others, right? And this will play out into your favor, into our favor in general, and I see it here playing out into your favor. You just have to leave the old behind. And when I say leaving the old behind, that's easier said than done, I know. But Ace of Wands and the Queen of Wands, the Queen of Cups clarifying the Queen of Wands. So you are in control of your passion. Nobody can play you. Nobody can trigger you, because you are in control of your emotions and of your passions. And leaving behind the old, I was waiting for the clarifier before. Yeah, the sun. Wow. Leaving behind the old and going towards the sun. Beautiful energy. And let's just clarify the Death card, because there should be something good as well, there's the Ace of Pentacles. Wealth, abundance, and prosperity in its full potential. You just have to do it. You just have to believe it. You just have to focus on what you want to create, not what you don't want to create. Don't focus your mind on the old stuff. Don't focus on your mind on what went wrong. You turn around, right? And you take your 2 cups, you leave the old 3 cups behind. One was poisoned anyway, right? And the others 2, God, what the heck, right? That's just how life is. You take your cups and you go over that bridge. If you see that, there's a bridge. And then you go to that castle and you build your new home, right? You leave the old behind. And that doesn't mean forgiveness in the sense that you just shrug your shoulders and say whatever happened, happened. If you can do that, fantastic, but it's not that easy, right? It takes time. But just to disengage with this energy of remorse and, mourning the old, whatever happened, frees your energy to concentrate on the sun, concentrate on where you want to go. You got the sun card here, you got the victory march. The universe is inviting you to make your dream come true, right? To work on your dreams. If you just leave the old behind, there's the death card with the 8 of cups, right? You can do that. Ace of Wands, clarifying the 4 of Swords. Judgment, clarified by the Page of Pentacles. A lot of Pentacles energy, right? Practical approaches. And the 4 of Wands is clarified by, yeah, you're waking up from that, basically, right? This is that's the bottom of the clarifier deck, and that's the bottom of the big deck. So during the last few years, I would say, certainly in 2025, you were kind of blocked by trauma or whatever went wrong, right? And in 2026, you already planted your seeds, I would say, even at the end of 2025, maybe, because the 7 of Pentacles is definitely clarifying the 8 of Wands. There's the Chariot, the new consciousness, leaving the old behind. Really, your focus creates your reality. That's very important. Write that down, right? Because it's really, really important. Your focus creates your reality. And there's the victory march. You're doing that. And how do you do it? There's sadness here, right? But you're overcoming sadness. Sadness is the old energy of the last few years, right? You're healing yourself from this. You're letting it go. You're waking up to all these possibilities. The world is inviting you to come back. Yeah, set healthy boundaries and just go for it, right? I'm doing a few quotes here. So what is important is that you, and I say this in most of the readings because it's kind of there with the 4 of Swords, clarified by the Ace of Wands. There's the Death card, clarified by the Ace of Pentacles, right? Letting go is not something that you do easily. Letting go is a practice. Letting go is not something that you do one day and then you're just done with it, right? It's not necessarily about forgiveness in the sense that you say, oh, well, whatever, it wasn't so bad. You're not excusing what happened. You're just accepting. Radical acceptance is here. And radical acceptance and forgiveness in the sense that you're freeing yourself. You're not forgiving for the other person or whatever happened to you. You're forgiving for yourself and freeing yourself from that attachment to the old, right? So do not look into the past. Do not look for guilt, right? The concept of guilt is always tied to the past. So if you turn around, and that's very much emphasized here with the Five of Cups, right? If you literally turn around your focus, not to the past, what happened, but what can you do with what you got, where you are? And then you're planting your seeds, you're coming. What is very important here is to come out of your shell. There's mastership here with the King of Wands, the Queen of Wands, the Queen of Cups is here. So you're in control of your passion, which is very important for you as a fire sign, right? Not being manipulated by your passion, not being swept away by excitement, right? But you are in control of your passion, your fire energy, and your emotions. And you're cultivating all of that potential. Sagittarius, fire sign, you are, you got this bow and arrow stuff going on, and you know exactly what you want to do. But focus on the right stuff, right? Because, when you let go, you shoot your arrow in that direction in which you're focusing on. So to train your mind, to use this, make the best of this new consciousness that is coming in, you need to install a practice to cultivate your mind and to cultivate this letting go stuff, right? Releasing the old, because you're freeing yourself for the new, and that is your Victory March. Victory March 2026, you're taking the invitation from the universe. The universe is totally on your side. It's the Chariot, the Eight of Swords. Set healthy boundaries. Don't make the same mistake that you might have been doing in the last few years, right? I don't know what happened. Eight of Swords, Eight of Cups energy, but it's over now. But forgiveness means you're releasing yourself from the attachment of the old. You're not saying it was okay, but the real mastership lies in learning something about it, right? And applying the wisdom of what you have learned from it, which might be healthy boundaries, how to set healthy boundaries. Because at the end of 2025, you might be in this energy of the wounded warrior, but you're stepping out of this. Why? Because your wound is healed and you have learned how to set healthy boundaries, how to be in control of your passion, of your fire energy. That's also sexual energy, by the way, just hinting into that direction, right? And you're waking up 2 times Judgment, 2 times the Four of Wands, leaving the old behind. You got a lot of aces here, the Ace of Pentacles, the Ace of Wands, and the Ace of Swords, of course, the new consciousness, 3 aces, right? Let's just take this quote. Yeah, instead of being angry of what happened, and instead of being angry of what other people do, observe what you dislike in others, seek those traits in yourself, unlearn. This is how you nurture self-love. So instead of telling people, oh, you're so bad because da-da-da, right? That's kind of the 5 of Cups energy. If you're angry, if you're resentful, if you're going for conflict, you're kind of attaching yourself to the old conflict, to whatever went wrong in the past. But if you can look at it from a distance and just say, okay, I don't like this and that behavior in this and that person. What can I learn from this? How can I insulate, not isolate, but insulate myself, right? So that this behavior is no longer getting me. So I'm no longer taking the bait, that I'm no longer falling for it, right? And the best way to do it is through installing a practice, an everyday practice of meditation. You can do yoga, fitness, sports, whatever. Meditation is the best thing you can do. If you just sit there, you can, for 5 minutes, you can sit for 5 minutes, right? And it's not that easy, right? It's harder than you think if you have never done it before. And you just accept that there are assholes in the world, right? You're not one of them, so concentrate on the good people because they are outside as well. right? So you're going to meet a lot of good people in 2026, a lot of good people who support you, you can work with, right? There's a good time here with the Four of Wands 2 time. There's the Sun card. You get everything you need to be super successful in 2026. And I think it's just going to flow. If you just trust yourself, the world is a strange place, right? You might have noticed, right? In the last few years, definitely. And it's still a strange place, right? Full of strange people, full of toxic people. But if you set healthy boundaries, if you enforce these boundaries, and if you protect your inner peace, right? And you just go out with your healthy boundaries and your inner peace that you're protecting. And, you know, you don't need to explain yourself. You don't need to justify what you're doing. No is a complete sentence. Yes is also a complete sentence, right? And if you go out in that mindset, and this is pretty much the Ace of Swords, you know, no longer taking the bait of the old stuff, no longer taking the bait of the narcissist, no longer taking the bait of toxic people. They try to trigger you and they are still out there, right? But you have insulated yourself. That's the big success here. And now you in 2026, you're applying it and the universe is supporting you in this. Meeting good people, and to maintain that inner peace, you need a practice. Meditation, going for long walks, yoga, fitness, whatever you do. Some people will never like you because your spirit irritates their demons. Denzel Washington. So as long as you are not irritated by their demons, you know, you can concentrate on your spirit. Your focus determines your reality, my friend. Walk your way out of distress, right? Act like the person you wish to be. That's pretty much all I got. Never negotiate who you are. That's another one. Very important. So 2026 is going to be a successful year. What you have to do is to finally let go of the old. And I'm not preaching blind forgiveness here. I'm preaching disengagement. I'm telling you to just turn around, take your 2 cups and make the best of it that you can. You can sit there and mourn what happened all day long, all year long, right? What went wrong or what was destroyed, some of it was very, very toxic. So good riddance. A few other things were not toxic, but you know what? That's how life is. So to accept that, to radically accept that, is that kind of moving on, 8 of Cups energy that I was talking about. And then you're freeing your mind, your consciousness. Ace of Swords, clarified by the 8 of Cups, right? Towards something better. And what is the better thing that is coming in 2026? The Sun card. You're going towards the sun. You let the old version of yourself die, right? The wounded warrior, right? Gone, right? You're coming out of your shell. And you learn the lesson. And these lessons are your shield. These lessons are protecting you. And then you're planting your seeds. Whatever project you want to, just keep doing it. Believe in yourself. Small incremental steps. And the universe is definitively supporting you in it. That's 2026. And I think it looks pretty good. There is a heaviness to it, right? But the heaviness is the past energy from the last few years, and you're processing and healing this in 2026, and you're making the best of it by learning something out of it. That's the doorbell. But that's 2026. And I hope you liked it. I hope it resonates with you. Share, like, subscribe, leave a comment, and let me know what you think about it. See you next time. Now, my friend. Ciao.